Yeah, Coach Smarts mentioned yesterday some multiple football teams. Play a little odd, play a little even. I guess explain the difference when you're uncovered versus when you are, and how do you go about practicing both against a team that might give you both?
For me, the biggest thing is recognizing movement when I'm uncovered. Because if I'm usually have a direct shot to the backer, but if we're playing a team that moves, I got to recognize movement, bump back, or help a tackler or center. And covered, it's more technique with just man-on combos and stuff like that. So this week, I'm definitely preparing more for helping out more than being the main one on the combo.
Tate, we talked to Marius last week. How much development have you seen from him over the last year once he got in the mix and just what he's shown getting ready for this season?
A lot of growth from him. He's shown a tremendous amount of effort to mature, to step into that role as our starting tackle, and I think he's really taken it with a full head of steam, and he's taken it and ran with it.
You're stepping into, it feels like the third year is alongside Cedric Van Pran. I mean, what has it been like both of your guys' relationship working together for so long?
I'd say on the field, I have more trust in Ced than I've ever had next to anybody I've played with. Off the field, me and him are like brothers. We are always together, always hanging out, always watching film together. So me and him have definitely built a special bond over the past 3-4 years that we've been here.
You use the word trust there with Ced, talking Carson. How has the trust building process been for the offense through fall camp, and what gives y'all confidence in him going into the season?
I think that we learned that we have to have confidence in ourselves first off, no matter who's on the field with us, that without us, the things don't really roll. And with Carson being back there, just a progression of being with him since spring and going into fall camp and taking more reps and him changing protections and him really taking control of the offense has really helped us with having trust in him behind us.
I think as early as your freshman year of high school, you're playing tight end, then you move to tackle, then you get to college as an All-American high school tackle, you move to guard. What was the whole transition like throughout your career as you kept getting closer to the ball?
Well, when I started off at tight end, I was a little lighter than I am now. I was probably about 225, so I could move a little bit better. But as I got here and progressed playing tackle through high school, I learned I wasn't a tackle pretty quick going against guys like Jermaine Johnson, Adam Anderson. I was sitting here as a freshman thinking, what am I doing out here just getting worked every day on the edge? And then one day, coach came up to me and said, I think you'd work best at guard, and I've loved being in there ever since.
Tate, how far do you feel like you've come over the last year, having last season under your belt after that injury a couple of years ago, and how much more confidence do you have in yourself, having played and the progress you've made?
I think confidence is the key word in that. I think I'm a lot more confident in my abilities. Last year going into the season, I feel like I definitely had some doubts in myself in my game, and since then I've just had time to work on that and get more comfortable in my position and the guys around me.
As someone who's been a veteran in this team, what was something you've worked on the most this offseason, given you've started before, you've won a national championship as a starter, and now fully confident in that foot coming off of it?
Really the biggest thing I've worked on is trying to become more of a vocal leader on the team, which has always been not one of my strong things. I've never been a big vocal guy. So I've been challenged to kind of step up into that role and kind of speak up more and not just let Ced be the leader of our offensive line room, kind of have his back in things and kind of step out and say things more. But technique-wise, it's just been better steps, better hand placement, hat placement, just understanding the game more, trying to see things before they happen.
Does co-hosting a podcast help you at all be more vocal?
I feel like maybe not. It definitely makes me more comfortable in situations like this. Like when I first got here in front of a camera, I was like, I hated it, but now I'm definitely more comfortable around it. But I think it's helped me better talking wise and yes, speaking up in front of a large group of people.
We've heard conflicting things about honoring Devin in this game. I'm just wondering, is it a thing that you guys want to unveil some kind of secret, or you guys literally still trying to figure out kind of how you want to do that?
I think we're still trying to figure out what we want to do, but we definitely want to do something throughout the season just because he's a big part of our offensive line's why and why we do things and why we play like we play.
Kirby Smarts, pretty well known for his pregame speeches. What's the key to a good Kirby Smart pregame speech?
Just the juice he brings. I mean, you could be asleep and then listen to one of those pregame speeches, you're ready to run through a wall. But I don't think it's really any particular thing. He just knows how to get us going.
I wanted to ask about Coach Searle specifically. I mean, obviously you've worked with a couple guys in your time here, but what has he brought to your game that's really made you the player that you are now?
A worker's mentality. Coming to practice every day, knowing that we have a standard to set as an offensive line, and coming to set that every day. He's going to let us know when we're not up to that standard. He's going to let us know when we are. So he's definitely brought a come to work every day. Really, just come in, head down, and go to work every day kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know what the availability is for some of these banged up running backs, but you think Cash Jones is excited about the possibility of getting some touches Saturday?
I know he is. I think that Cash has done a great job throughout fall camp of just taking reps and just building trust with everybody around him, knowing that he's going to do the right thing and when we need him to. But I think our offensive line especially has trust in whoever's behind us.
We touched on the podcast a little bit there, but obviously you're now hosting it with Zion and stuff like that. I mean, what has that been like to get to work with him now, and especially going through the season? Kind of like what you got to do with oh man, what is his name escaping me? Ryland, not Ryland. Yeah, Ryland. What was it like working with Ryland, obviously, and now getting to work with Zion?
Working with Cody was great. I have a lot of respect for him and how he handled his business and how he went about that podcast. He really loved it and really took charge of that and kind of took its way. But me and Zelo had a bond before that podcast, so I think him coming on there kind of just strengthened that bond and we were a perfect fit for each other just to talk with each other.
Tate, getting ready for this season, what have you seen from y'all's defensive line going up against them every day? What sort of stands out to you about this group of defensive line?
They're hard workers. They're tough. They come to work. They come to practice every day. And if we don't come with our best foot forward, then we know that we're not going to have a great day with them in front of us, which is the beauty of things. If we get them better, they get us better. So I love going against those guys every day.
I guess what's the key, or you had a bunch of NFL guys come through here at that defensive tackle position, guys that you were going to get up against every day in practice. What was the biggest takeaway that you learned during practice going against some of those guys?
When I first stepped into that role of going against them every day, it's a big realization is either get better or get your butt kicked every day. Which all of those guys, from JD, Vontae, Trayvon to JC, all helped me develop into the player I am today. Going against them every day was the biggest blessing to me being here, just knowing that I'm going against the best every day.
I wanted to ask about some of the younger guys on the team that are coming in, like Monroe, Bo, and Joshua Miller, a few of those guys. What have you seen from them as they've kind of made their way through summer, spring, and now fall?
A lot of growth. They come in as freshmen, don't really know their place, but I think our offensive line does a really good job of embracing people coming in. Monroe's been here since January, so I've seen a lot of growth out of him from when he first got here from spring ball to fall camp. Josh and Bo have just been growing, knowing the playbook, knowing the plays, kind of getting that physicality about them that's needed to play college football. And you've definitely seen a lot of that progress from when they first started.
I know it's a little bit more on the opposite side of you, but I mean, we've been hearing a lot of talk obviously on that left tackle position between Austin Blasky, Ernest Green. I mean, what have you seen from those guys specifically that have really stood out, especially as they battle for that left tackle starting spot?
Both of those guys are great talents out there. They both do really well in space, in my opinion. They both work extremely hard. They're both really athletic. They both can run block really well. I think both of them are really extremely good players.
Got time for two more questions?
Take another one. Just to keep asking you every single player on the offensive line you've played with. Last one I haven't really asked about is Xavier Trust. I mean, obviously, how much trust do you have on him helping out that left side, especially from the guard position, when you both were guys that came in here as tackles?
All the trust I can have in somebody. I've been playing next to him for all of last year and last spring, and I think over that time, you can't really function if you don't have the trust in all the guys across your line. So trust is a big thing for us in playing together as a unit. So I have full trust in everybody that's next to me.
Yeah, a lot of, I don't know if it's standard in other college football programs, but other college or football environments, offensive linemen handle offensive linemen, quarterbacks handle quarterbacks. I hear a lot of you guys talk about your best friends being in other different positions. What's the key to kind of developing those relationships on this, in this building?
I think it's just a culture we've set here. It's not just having cliques in the locker room. Everybody's one tight-knit brotherhood. And like one of my best friends off the field was Carson Beck. I lived with him for 2 years. And it's kind of just the guys you come in with, you get to know more than anybody, and that's accepting other people into those groups and kind of getting to know them and getting to know their story. So you have more of a reason to play for on Saturday than just yourself. You're playing for the guy next to you and you know why they're playing.